Hi, Chomi. Welcome to another episode of Meet Me in My Corner. I am Dr. K and I'm your host. It's so exciting to be back, although this is a spin-off, all right? So this is not going to be like season one. I actually titled season one my self-awareness journey, whereas this is going to be my journey to the aisle. And this time around, what will be very different is obviously the setup. Can you see? Okay, so yes, I am investing a lot more into the podcast. And I was really excited to do this because I do want to have something that I can look back on, for this journey. Because, yeah, I just can't believe I'm here. We also will be having guests to assist me in having this conversation because obviously I'm not in the wedding industry and also not in like the marriage industry yet, but I am going to be because I'm going to be married soon, right? But yeah, I just want us to use this platform as a moment for us to share in my journey. And also, hopefully, this will be something that can be useful for you. Guys, we've done a lot, okay? We are doing a lot. I hope the promo pics are out by now. You have seen them. You're excited about it. And I really pray that you will actually enjoy this. So yeah, I'm getting married. It's so insane to me. It still feels quite surreal. And I don't know if it's the inner critic in me that is making it feel so surreal. I don't know why, but I mean, as a young girl, I did obviously want to get married one day, but I didn't really know what that entailed. And then I started dating people and then it seemed quite far-fetched. And I guess that was because of the type of people that I was seeing myself with. And I couldn't really see a future with them. And then at some point it made me stop believing that this would be possible for me. So I'm not one of those people that, had like a mood board from, I don't know, 19 whenever, where they have their dream dress and their dream location or, all these elements. So in actual fact, everything feels very new, foreign, crazy, and overwhelming. It feels very overwhelming. And that's why I then decided that, I want to share this on my podcast because I'm not the only person that is feeling very overwhelmed by taking this step, right? There's a lot of elements that go into putting together a wedding. It's super expensive. It's super expensive. You don't know where to turn. And I feel like there's just not enough out there for girls that look like me to look to, to use as a resource or some sort of a tool to help you make these very big decisions. First and foremost, before I go far into this episode, I just want to touch on, the fact that I am excited about celebrating the love that I have with my partner. And that's why we decided on actually having a wedding. For 2 years that we have been engaged, we have been going back and forth with ourselves. Like, are we going to have a wedding? Are we going to do this? Are we going to, elope? Are we just going to go, to Mauritius and then stand by the beach and just make it very simple? Or do we want to celebrate this with people? And last year, actually, I made the decision, obviously in consultation with him, that I really want to celebrate us. And this is because I feel like I haven't done a lot to celebrate myself. Quite honestly, I haven't done a lot. And I really do see my relationship with him as an achievement, and not as an achievement in the superficial sense of like, oh, I have a man. No, because of a lot of the things that we have been through, our triumphs and our heartaches, our hurdles that we have overcome. I really feel like our marriage would be almost like the graduation. And I want to celebrate that with people. And there's been so many people that have been instrumental in, helping us become who we are and also become who we are to each other, and who have been there in our journey in, creating this family that we now have. And we want to have those people in the same space with us and really just be merry. And honestly, yes, I know people will say that it's a huge expense and it's a crazy expense for just one day. But it's that one day that I really want. Yeah, I have to say it. I really want it. Okay. I really want the wedding day, and I want everything. I want everything. Guys, I am doing everything. Okay. And this time around, I'm not going to let my inner critic win, where I want to, people please and not ask for things. I'm going to be asking for things now. Like, I want a bridal shower. I want a bachelorette. I want to have all the things that I've seen people have, and I want to enjoy it. And if at the end of it, I feel like, it wasn't worth it, then that's fine. But I don't want to get to the end of it and just be like, I wish I actually spent the money to do this, or I actually wish I asked for this, or I wish I put myself in a position to have this, because I've had a lot of moments where I felt like I robbed myself of a lot of opportunities because maybe I thought that the achievement was not worthy of a celebration. And I have been quite envious of people who celebrate themselves and, create those moments. That with this wedding, I said, I'm going all out. So another thing is, the way my partner and I met, for me, was so special that it requires an audience. It requires an audience that we're here. So we met in around 2018, and we met on Twitter, which was very bizarre. We had a few dates that were interesting and fun that he curated. I love the fact that we started our relationship as a friendship. We even had a situation where we got dragged on Twitter, because I was celebrating a month. But me celebrating that month with my partner was actually just an indication or demonstration of how happy I was. And because he was so foreign to what I had ever allowed myself to be in. And I was so proud of myself to actually give into a relationship that felt safe, that felt so good, where the person I was with was really, really kind. I am super, super, super grateful for my partner. And just this journey of us making it to the aisle has made me reflect a lot on that. And also just reflect on the amount of achievements that we've had, a lot of the things that we have gone through to make us get here. But I'm also super anxious about this, I must say. And I'm anxious about this because, as I said before, my inner critic has been playing a big part, because this is something that is big to me. Your inner critic will come out when you are about to achieve something, or when you're about to do something that is out of your comfort zone, or when you're about to do something that is very different or very foreign to you, where you really have to put yourself out there. So I am hyper anxious, and I keep thinking that it might not happen. And not that our relationship will end or anything like that. No, I'm just going really far with my thoughts. So I need to continuously, speak to myself and caution myself from going down a path of sabotaging myself, because I don't think that I'm deserving of this, but I do think I'm deserving of this. It's just the inner critic will tell you that you might not be deserving of this, so it might not happen. But yeah, that's something else. But I wanted to share that. But also, I think that I have been reading up a lot about, the hedonic adaptation. And I don't also want to put myself in a situation where I treat this event as something that is going to change my level of happiness. Okay. So if you don't know about the hedonic adaptation, I'm just going to share something with you. So the hedonic adaptation or treadmill is the idea that an individual's level of happiness after rising or falling in response to positive or negative life events ultimately tends to move back towards where it was prior to these experiences. So how let's say you get a car, right? And you've worked your hardest to get this car and you believe that this car will level up your life, right? And you get into this car and it's really exciting when you get it. You're super, super happy. Or let's speak about my instance, right? Where I really want this wedding and I get into that wedding dress and I'm super, super happy. And the day happens and then it passes and then I go back to being me. And a lot of people struggle with going back to base. So the idea is that we have a level of happiness and it's stagnant and it's always going to be there unless you address certain factors, and all these external things like events and materialistic things can't really address your level of happiness. But sometimes what we do is we try to use external things to improve our happiness, and then we find that they don't, and then we struggle, and then we have those post-event depression. So I've been thinking a lot about that, and I'm trying to caution myself about that, and to continuously remind myself that it's going to be a beautiful day, but it's not going to change a lot. Okay. It can change a few things like my surname, and the weight of the ring, right? But it won't undo things that I need to address. Okay. But yeah, another thing that they also say is that one's baseline level of well-being or set point is not necessarily emotionally neutral. It is likely positive for most people and is not the same for everyone. A person may also have different baselines for different aspects of well-being. Overall, life satisfaction versus the amount of positive emotions experienced, for example, the process by which positive or negative effects on happiness fade over time is called the hedonic adaptation. So I also want you to think about that, okay? If you are especially on this journey with me or wherever you are in your life, the hedonic adaptation has made me more aware of a lot more other things. And those other things include my financial discipline. Okay. So this journey has also made me realize that my discipline has to be on another level. Okay. I did speak about this in season 1 where I felt that my discipline was lacking and I needed to remind myself that I am capable of having the level of discipline that is required for me to be more comfortable with my life, right? And the areas that I pinpointed was 1, financial discipline. Okay. So obviously putting together a wedding is not a cheap task. Okay. No matter how you want to do it, it requires you to take out an expense. Okay. And that is budget that is just not lying around. Okay. So whether you're taking it from your savings or you are starting to save towards it, hopefully you're not doing it via credit. I really don't think anybody should push themselves into a tight corner to do this on credit, because then I feel like it wouldn't be worth it. And the stress of like paying back a day that you've already experienced. Oh, no, I would hate that. So another thing that I've been cautioning myself with this financial discipline, right? In regards to this financial discipline is that I don't want to see myself and my partner fighting over certain costs because I'm not exercising discipline. I won't lie. He is very disciplined. He is one of those people who will not spend money if he hasn't budgeted for the thing, right? And I am one of those people. I throw money towards problems all the time. I will not even take time to problem solve. I am very lazy with my problem solving. So I normally find myself being very wasteful with money. And in this situation where we both have a common goal and it requires both of us to be disciplined, it will really expose me. And I have this in the back of my mind that I don't want to lose a marriage while trying to get to the wedding day, right? Because I don't want my partner to lose trust in me because I am not exercising my discipline muscle when it's required the most right now. Because I also think that this could be not a test, but it could be an example of other situations that we would face, where it requires us both to be in collaboration with each other to meet a certain goal. Another thing is being disciplined with my people pleasing. Okay. This also does impact the financial discipline. So the people pleasing has really reared its head with this stage in my life, because there is a lot of people that you have to interface with. And if you're a people pleaser, you might find yourself now allowing others to basically write out your story or to determine how things are going to pan out for you, right? So how it's shown up, one, is obviously with our family. You don't want to disappoint your family, but at the end of the day, you also want to have your day be what you envisioned it to be and it not being somebody else's vision, right? Which is quite a tough dynamic because you also just don't want to fight with people. You don't want to, have this wonderful day and it looks beautiful in pictures, but there's so much animosity in the background, or there's so much, turmoil to have this day actually happen. And then the other thing is the guest list. I think this is a contentious topic for a lot of people, or contentious point for a lot of people. The guest list, right? You obviously want to have every person that you know at your wedding and every person that is very special to you at your wedding. You don't want people to feel that if they are not invited to your wedding, that they're not special to you. And it's a very difficult line, or it's a very difficult place to be in and very uncomfortable, where you have to pick and choose who's going to make the guest list, because you don't want to have that awkward conversation with somebody that doesn't make the guest list, and you don't want them to feel like you don't care about them. And it's like, you're doomed if you do, doomed if you don't, because if you do try to, have everybody at your wedding, then maybe you will have to change the quality of the kind of wedding that you want. You will maybe have to take away from experiences because you won't be able to afford everything, because you're trying to have 300 people in a venue instead of having 100 or whatever, that you could have afforded for you to have this day that you've envisioned. And luckily, I have a lot of people around me that are married and that have had weddings recently. And they have been very, direct with me and have shared with me that I just need to suck it up. That people won't be happy. I won't be able to please everybody. And I just will need to live with that. Uncomfortably so. That has been very uncomfortable. And then comes the vendors, right? So when you're putting together your wedding, you obviously will reach out to a lot of people. You would hope that the person that you want would be the first person that you reach out to. But sometimes you reach out to a vendor and then down the line you find that, actually, this is not a good fit. But because I'm a people pleaser, I will try force it, or I will want to like pay for the fact that it just didn't work out. And my partner has been cautioning me about this because he's very practical. And I really admire the fact that he is not a people pleaser at all, but he's still very kind. He's still very kind. I actually read a quote the other day that Viola Davis put up on her stories, where she said that I'm done being nice because I've realized that being nice gets me run over. I'm paraphrasing. I am a good person, and that's what I'll always be. And it doesn't mean that if I'm not nice, that I'm not good. So me trying to understand that and trying to get myself in that position is literally still a journey. I have been struggling with, sending emails where I have to say, oh, okay, I know we're very far down the line, but in actual fact, now I actually see that this won't work. And my partner has now taken over our emails and our comms with all our vendors because he is very just to the point. This is not going to work, and he keeps reminding me, this is a business, Kateo. And there's two parties in a business. There's a customer and there's a salesman. And salesmen will always be quite emotive and they will make you feel guilty, if you don't go with them. But you have to understand at the end of the day that you are one of many customers and they will get another customer. You're not special to them. You don't have to lose sleep over you rejecting their business or whatever. This has actually shown me that it's really cool to go through life with a partner, because if I was alone, I definitely would have people pleased my way through and I would have landed up with a huge bill at the end of the day and not have been really happy with my vision. And I really want to make the most of, this wedding day, and my journey to the aisle. And that's why I'm even using my podcast as one of the things that I'm going to look back on, years later to see where I was, as some sort of like a diary or a journal of, my journey to the aisle, and to just celebrate this milestone, as I said to you before, and why I feel that it's a milestone. I also am going to do everything to make this big and wonderful. I am definitely going to get a planner because I need help and I want to accept help and I really want to be present on that day. I don't want to have the day just go so fast that I don't feel like I actually really gave into it, especially because I'm planning so much to make it happen. And I also want to make sure that at the end of it, my partner and I can look back at it and be like, this is also one of the things that we did together and we did it so well. And that in itself being one of the accomplishments that we have together. I don't know. It's kind of romantic to me. But anyway, we are at the end of this episode. This was just for me to just tell you where I am, my headspace with this whole journey and why I want you to be a part of it. I really want us to have a space like this where we can have conversations about, weddings and the journey to the aisle, because I haven't seen a lot of people that look like me having these kinds of conversations. And when I started planning, I really felt quite overwhelmed. So the guests that I will be bringing through will act as a tool and a resource for you. And some will be quite entertaining and some will be quite healing, especially if you've already gone through this phase of your life and you're already in the marriage phase. But yeah, I really hope you will enjoy meeting me in my corner every Wednesday, where we will talk about my journey to the aisle. Okay, bye, Chomi.